Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Comedy Cellar Nightly Show. Once again, I am Alon Altman, filling in for Dave Juskow, who is on assignment. I like saying that. I don't know what it means. As always, we're here with Mike Suarez. Say hi, Mike.
How's it going?
Mike, never on screen, but always there to guide us. One day we'll find out what you look like, Mike. And we are here with our guest today, Gianmarco Ceresi, who has decided not to wear a shirt.
I listen. When I don't get paid, I wear a tank top. That's my rule.
And we were gonna pay you, but now we're not. That's how it works.
Oh shit! God damn
it. My rule's the opposite.
Yeah, Mike's like, take it off more.
I'll do it. Whatever. You know what I did once during the pandemic, like height of the pandemic, April, May. I did a roast battle with a comedy club, and I thought it would be funny. It was a Zoom roast battle. And I thought it'd be funny to do it from my bathtub. So I was in a bath doing this roast. And no one was like cool about it or thought it was funny. They made me feel bad. And I remember that was the lowest point of the pandemic. Because everyone on that show, it wasn't like the fun, like making jokes. It was just like, why are you doing that? And I was like, oh, I was trying to be an artist. But I guess I don't do it anymore. Never mind.
You know, you try on Zoom many different things. It doesn't always work. I did one Zoom roast battle also, and I thought it would be funny to have my background be the person I was roast battling's dead mom.
Oh my God.
Because we always make fun of dead relatives in roast battles. It's obviously any other setting, it's horrible to do, but it was a picture of him and his mom who had passed away from some mysterious circumstances. And no one thought that was funny. They didn't give me any credit for that. So I just looked like a real jackass.
That is so funny. That is so fucked up.
Oh, no. Catalina said, Jesus, Alon.
That is really funny. Like, in the moment, I could see, like, not laughing about it, but, like, in retrospect, that's very funny.
I thought that was totally fair game, but apparently no good. So, my bad. And that was, like, the last roast battle I did. So I think I've retired at that point.
Yeah, I James Pontillo asked me again recently.
That's who it was. It was James Pontillo, by the way.
James Pontillo. I'm retired. I do think it's like, I don't know. I can't tell whether when we start joking about dead parents, if we're like truly just being psychopaths. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about it where it's like, okay, we've lost the thread of what being a decent human being is. That's really low to make fun of someone's dead parents.
Yeah, someone said comedians can talk about anything, and we just took that ball and ran with it and went way too far with the roast battle thing.
Well, especially with roast, like, you know, the history of roast, like Usama Siddiqui had a line where he said roast battles finally give white people an excuse to be racist again. Like, if you, and so we were like, okay, we won't be racist. We'll just dig deep into your trauma, your human experience trauma. You can't get canceled for making fun of someone's dead mom, but that's still not good.
Yeah, you're right. But look, we've moved past it. But I think you and I sort of became more acquainted during roast battle days, which was probably like 2017 or so, right? I think we probably met before that, but it was during the roast battles where I noticed, like, whoa, this Gianmarco guy is a really great writer.
Not in the beginning.
Oh, no, in the beginning I thought, oh, it's all sex appeal with this guy.
I remember going to Comedy Fight Club, and when I was new, and I was like terrified. Maddie Smith, after my first roast battle, at the end of the roast, she does like her review of the roast, and she go, Gianmarco Ceresi, quit comedy. And I remember thinking, like, I will one day have revenge on you for telling me to quit comedy. How dare you? I bring it up every time I see Maddie, and she's very much moved on, and I have not.
Yeah, that's how I feel also. We were talking about, like, I roast battled her at the stand, I don't know, again, like 3-4 years ago. And I was like, oh, one time I roast battled her and she ruined my life. And she's like, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah. So I don't know. I always thought roast battles deserved more. Like, I thought when I was in high school, I would have just like loved roast battles. But I don't think it's ever like taken off in the mainstream. Obviously, Comedy Central had a show, but I just always thought it could be bigger. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what killed it. I think they did too many shows too fast.
Historical roasts. You see that Netflix show?
I didn't like it too much.
That might be what killed roast forever.
That was where it jumped the shark.
Gilbert Gottfried as Adolf Hitler. Yeah, that might have been jumping the shark a bit.
That was too much. Yeah. See, it's again, like you don't like when people talk about your dead parents. So seeing your dad there was really,
That was real tough for me.
yeah. So listen, this show, I don't know how if you know how this show works, John Marco, and I haven't even given you a proper introduction, which I should do actually. Let me do that for our faithful viewers. And by the way, you can see here we have this chat. Do you see the chat on the right there? Comments?
Yeah. Oh, then go to the comments. Oh my God, there's comments. Oh wow.
So we have.
I will.
We have all these great listeners who are always here, and they love to chat with each other while we talk about other stuff, and sometimes we talk to them. Oh,
Great.
Jenny wants to know where Professor David Juskow is. Dave Juskow right now, I should talk about that. He is doing a panel discussion for Sarah Silverman's new Broadway musical, The Bedwetter. Ooh. It's like after the production tonight, they're doing a panel with all of the cast and crew, and Dave is sort of the moderator of that. And normally he would never want to leave the show, but he did 2 weeks ago to go to Rayo's with SD from the Comedy Cellar. And once again, this time he has another excuse. And so that's why, once again, I get to fill in. And it's sort of like, what do they say? The inmates run the asylum.
Yeah.
Is that what they say? That's the thing they say.
Yeah, the inmates are running the asylum.
Yeah, because it's crazy when it's me and John Marco and Mike. We could do anything we want. We don't have Mr. Juskow here to tell us to stop.
And
right,
your rise at the Comedy Cellar has been meteoric. I mean, you were passed a couple weeks ago. Now you're running the show.
I'm running the big time show, the YouTube show, with Aunt Judy and Catalina and Anonymous.
You know what's so interesting? I want to see that Bedwetter musical. It's hard to get tickets. It's just so interesting because Sarah Silverman's like, that was part of her like first. I think her first special was like called Bedwetter or something. Like that was like the early stuff she talked about was wetting the bed. And like, what would your musical be if it was based on your early stuff? Would it be that Chinese restaurant hand job joke? Would that become a
That's musical? Also my later stuff. That's my closer.
It was the name of her autobiography.
Yeah, yeah. So it's sometimes those first bits. That's just.
Well, what would yours be? Moist or crunchy?
It could be moist or crunchy. That is true. My very first bit was about an ex that texted me, "What kind of KY did we use?" And I built a 2-minute chunk around that I don't do anymore. Thank God.
KY is the brand.
I also had a bit about moobs. I grew up I was heavy chested. Like when I got out of the pool, I'd hold a towel up here. And then I thought it was, how when you realize, I realized, I'm not tall enough to do tall jokes. You know what I mean? Like you got to be 6'7". I'm 6'3".
You could do tall jokes.
It was the same way where I had all these jokes about moobs and I guess being a chubby kid. And then I met a guy who had strangely high estrogen levels in high school and had C cups. And I was like, okay, he gets to do those jokes, not me.
I always think it's funny when someone's doing chubby kid jokes when they're very, very fit now. Because I feel like the crowd is just yeah, sure.
Well,
are you 5 pounds overweight? Come on.
Well, I say the thing. I say I grew 5 inches in high school. All the fat spread out. My mom told me it was my second chance. And I go from there. So I was a bit of a chubby kid.
All right, I believe it. Maybe if we should have some childhood photos of you to throw up on the screen here. And the chat room can decide.
Were you always this ripped?
Always been ripped, always been extremely underweight. So no matter how small I was, my weight was always much, much smaller than that.
Did you take the Presidential Fitness Challenge?
No.
Really? That was it was like a government. Lyndon B. Johnson started it in the 60s because they felt men were becoming too not ready for war. And it made us see how many pull-ups we could do, how fast we could run a mile, how many push-ups we could do in a minute, how many crunches in a minute, something called the shuttle run where they timed how quickly you could run back and forth 2 times. And it was for unathletic kids, it was very embarrassing.
I never had to do that. I don't know why. I did have to do stuff like that in gym class, but it was never presidentially sanctioned. But I always thought that if there was a new draft and you had to go to war, I feel like I could have found my way out of it. Here's the thing.
Curl-ups?
Curl-ups.
That I was okay in that. Pull-ups were the humiliating one. We got shuttle run. You had to pick up these spools and run back and forth.
That's it's like suicides.
Yeah, pretty much.
I guess the PC police won't let us use that word anymore.
They should call it the attempted suicides. The endurance. So this was the mile. We had to do a mile for sure. And eventually you get in percentiles, and if you get in like the 70, above 75, you get an award, and then above like 90, you get an award. And I never saw an award. Pull-ups. So here's the thing with pull-ups. If you couldn't do a pull-up, they would pick your fat ass up over the bar, and then let go. And they would time to see how many seconds
before you fell.
Hold it. And like I fell before the teacher had let go. The teacher couldn't even get me up there.
Oh man.
V-sit, this was the one, my favorite. You just sat and see how far you could reach.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, and it was like
deceptively hard.
Designed for like ruining your hamstrings. Did you go to? I went to private school and we still did it. Did you go? You were homeschooled.
What? Homeschooled?
Or is that just
Are you
your
kidding?
Energy?
Because of my antisocial nature? No, I went to public school. I went to New York City public school. How dare you?
Elon, I got to tell you, Elon helped me. Speaking of physical tasks, Elon helped me bring this air conditioner to my house. It's still sitting on my floor.
You didn't plug it in yet?
Well, the thing I need to do is the wings. I have to figure out a way to buy the thing on either side. And I don't know how to find the specific one for the specific brand. It's not very clear how I can just buy the wings. It's like trying to buy like a specific kind of screw that normally comes with the shelf. But you got to find the screw itself. So I don't know what to do.
Well, maybe in the chat they can help. Does anyone here install air conditioners? Anonymous?
Please.
Catalina? Yeah. I don't want this to all be in vain. You know, I helped you bring that thing up there. It was very heavy.
It was insanely heavy. This was an absurd thing to do. I regret it so deeply.
You just need to search for window unit side panels and just go by the measurements of the unit.
Okay, wait, let me type this into Google. Thank you for this help. Window unit side panel and type in the measurements.
Man, Mike is a problem solver. Look at that.
It doesn't have to be like the brand of the AC.
No.
This is exciting. You never know what'll happen on this show. Now we're all waiting with bated breath. Can Gianmarco find something on Amazon that is that will take probably 20 minutes for him?
You can also just buy 2 pieces of plastic and like hard plastic and
I'm
tape that.
Terrified. Listen, I will hire someone to install it. I am so terrified of an AC falling out of my apartment and killing someone.
What? How high up are you?
I mean, this is heavy. If this fell a floor, it would kill someone. But
right.
On the 3rd floor.
Oh yeah, that's a different thing. You just got to buy the window unit holder thing. They're different types, but by that you just want to go by the weight.
What the fuck, man? Hey, are you available for hire to do this?
I'm in Texas right now. So.
I'll pay for the flight. I was just there. I was just in Houston and Dallas. I went to a gun range. Is this okay, Elon, that I'm just talking?
You know what? It's totally off the rails at this point. We're talking about guns now. This is a family show, man.
Air conditioners and guns.
Listen, in Texas, guns are a family matter.
That's how they cool you down. They shoot a gun near your face and the wind from it just gives you a breeze.
Yeah. It was fun. I'd go back to the gun range. It's scary. And it's like unnecessary.
I went to a gun range during my bachelor party and we shot regular guns, but also we did skeet shooting, and I actually like hit the thing like 4 out of 5. It's way easier than you think.
That's fun. Well, because it's like scatter shot, right?
Yeah, you just got to be in the vicinity.
Were you drunk as you were shooting?
No, it was like a daytime activity. We were pretty sober at the time.
I could see you having a sober bachelor party.
The whole thing. No, we were up in the Poconos, so it was pretty wild. But it's funny, they give you ear protection, right? Like what you're wearing right now. But I forgot, like I couldn't hear my friend talking, so I pulled one of the ears off, and then someone shot a gun. And then my ear was ringing for months after that.
Oh my God. That's
You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So with the skeet shooting, were you shooting a shotgun?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
That's intense.
I'm a man. Yeah, that's right.
You're a man. You go flying back.
Look at these guns. Look how much extra arm I have from my arm to the sleeve. These are made for a large man.
That's so funny.
Oh wait, so listen, I wrote some monologue jokes for the show. I should do that now because this is the Comedy Cellar nightly show, and we want to treat this like a real talk show. Actually, when Dave Juskow started the show, he was doing monologue jokes, and then at some point, it all fell to the wayside. But I want to bring it back to classic.
I would love a book. I've looked for this. I would love like every Johnny Carson monologue book, like every Johnny Carson monologue just written out as jokes.
I don't think you realize how long that book would be. That's way too long to read.
Well, they can take out the bad ones, but like I enjoy joke books, and I don't feel like there's a really good joke book out there.
Well, what I found is on YouTube, there's a compilation of every single Norm Macdonald Weekend Update joke. It's audio only, but you can just listen to 6 hours of him doing every single Weekend Update joke.
That's a lot. Norm didn't have enough variety for me to sustain that much.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of repeats.
Nah. That's Norm.
I can listen to him for a million hours, but there are some certain things, like he'll do his like Frank Stallone thing over and over, or Germans love David Hasselhoff. He has like his running gags.
Yeah.
Or Happy Birthday, Jesus. Hope you like crap. Which he used for many different Christmas albums. All right, but here are my monologue jokes. These are ripped from the headlines, everybody. And make sure you give me like a fake laugh or something, so that I feel like they're not bombing.
Sure, I'll just think of my own jokes.
Pretend this is a packet for the Tonight Show. Celebrity chef Mario Batali has waived his right to a jury trial and is opting to have a judge decide his fate in his sexual misconduct trial in Boston. It makes sense. We know he prefers to do things behind closed doors. The crimes he's accused of are disgusting. Personally, I hope he fries.
Oh.
All right, they get better. 40% of America's baby formula supplies are out of stock, with some southern states seeing decreases of over 50%. Geez, if only there was some way the Supreme Court could help by increasing the amount of women with breast milk.
That's good.
All right. The price of Bitcoin has dropped more than 50% from its all-time high 6 months ago. Experts advise investors should sell the cryptocurrency and put their money into smart, stable investments, like digital drawings of monkeys. President Biden... Oh, what?
No, I agree. It makes sense.
It does, yes. President Biden announced the expansion of high-speed internet to low-income households. It won't help the families get out of poverty, but it will let them check how much money they owe much faster.
Very good.
Over 180 cities reported increases in gun thefts from cars between 2019 and 2020. Gun owners are advised that if they're going to leave a gun in their car, they should also leave their child inside to keep an eye on it.
I like that. I like that a lot.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul has tested positive for COVID in a transparent attempt to have something in common with every other New Yorker. And finally, Alec Baldwin was hit with a $25 million lawsuit from the family of a Marine who was killed in Afghanistan. Wow. I didn't know bullets could travel that far.
Wait, why was he sued by this company, by these people?
Defamation. I think it was like some relative of this dead person. He said that he called him like a January 6th insurrectionist or something like that. But I took that detail out to make it a joke.
No, it was very good. Yeah, I like that very much.
All right. It's like one of those bad audience members who doesn't laugh, but they're like, I like that. That's good. And you're like, all right, that's not the noise I wanted, but thank you.
I'm at shows sometimes, some theater stuff, and I remember I'm not a good laugher. I don't laugh. If you like roast me, I'll laugh. If it's like maybe sketch comedy, I'll laugh. But stand up, I'm just going like, okay, good. That makes sense. Logical. And sometimes friends like come to my special taping, and I'm like, you don't want me there. You don't want me there. I will be looking at you with just death in my eyes. I will only laugh if you bomb. And then I'll laugh so hard. Comedians can't help themselves. They laugh at a bomb so hard.
Yeah. I was laughing at a bomb last night, actually. I was watching... Have you ever seen Mitch Hedberg's, like, the raw footage from his Comedy Central Presents?
No.
So it was a 30-minute Comedy Central special, but there's about 45 minutes of it that was filmed. And it's a packed theater, and he, from the very first joke, is bombing so hard. And it's amazing because he's basically, a lot of it got cut out, obviously, but you can watch this raw footage on YouTube. This is what he says after the very first joke. He goes, "All right, man, I got to do a half hour. You got to like me more than that. I can't be getting through a half hour with that kind of action." He's one joke in and he's already bailing and talking about how the crowd sucks. 5 minutes in, he goes, "Man, y'all need to be getting into my jokes harder. We need to be rolling with it. I have 21 minutes left." And he does this like several other times, talking about how shitty it is. And then right at the very end of the whole thing, he goes, "My special is going to be all fucking cut up and shit. It's going to be very weird. It's not going to be seamless. It's going to be all jerky and shit." And the crowd just hates him.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Oh,
And he's like the greatest.
And did the final product look okay?
Yeah, it did, because I remember watching it as a kid and I never thought, oh, this guy's not doing well. Like, they found enough that was doing okay. And nothing, it wasn't like crushing, but you weren't hearing dead air.
That is wild. I'm gonna watch that for sure.
It's so good. I think it's like a supercut of just him like talking about his bombs in between the jokes would be like great for comedians' morale. To be like, look, everyone goes through it, even at a special taping when you're like one of the best comedians of your generation.
That is so funny. I wonder why. I wonder what happened.
I think it's, I've seen other sets of his where the crowd doesn't quite get into it right away, because you got to really know that what he's doing. It takes a few jokes to be like, oh, okay, I get this guy's style. And when he opens up, he says, do any of you guys know who I am? And no one like cheers at all. So he realized it's like a crowd of just randoms that get pulled in by like whatever it is, like the Blacklist, NYC, you know, one of those kind of like eating companies. And they didn't know who he was.
Was wild. As everyone knows, I was on Comedy Central last year. And
everyone knows that.
Everyone knows it. And I mean, I believe the woman, I really want to have her on my podcast. She'd be a great guest for this. She basically organizes audiences for comedy shows. She's got lists of every which place. And it's so complicated to build a film shoot and like try to cultivate an audience to fill a space for free. They served, it was open bar, and there was two guys in the front row that were too drunk. They were too drunk, and we were doing one take, and I was doing my R. Kelly joke, and there's a long setup. You know me, I like long.
Yeah, big act outs, long setup. Little ballet.
And I was like, this was a delicate setup about pedophiles. And I was like, if they interrupt this, that's it. We can't use this joke. And I heard them talking, and I was like, someone kick them out, please. But it's just so hard. You can't control an audience. You're always taking a risk.
Yeah, when I did Gotham Comedy Live, which is broadcast live, so it's not even a thing where you can edit out a mess up. You know, there was this lady who in the middle of one of my jokes in the setup just yelled out, "That's not true." Which is like, it was like so disruptive, and the crowd laughed at her yelling something. And I was, if you pause the tape, you could see a split second where my eyes are like, there's so much hate in my eyes as I turned to look at her like, why the fuck are you doing this right now? But I had a really good comeback, which like referred to some earlier joke. And then like brought the house down.
Oh, good for you.
But I had never had that happen before, so I never even had to use that as like a thing. But luckily in the moment, I thought of it, because like you're at such like a heightened level of like anxiety that your mind's working pretty fast. But it could have totally been like a real tank after that, where I would have been flustered by like this lady getting a bigger laugh than me and interrupting and all that.
That's tough. Yeah, I have a couple comebacks for like I had a joke, you know. I said I was on an episode of Law and Order SVU, and then I go into the joke, and I've had enough times that people shout out, "What episode?" And I go, the episode where the comedian murders the audience member for interrupting his joke. And I've only done it once, where like a little kid said it. It was a family show, and man, it was the best I've ever felt in my life.
Family show. So we know this was at LOL, because where else do family shows happen?
There should be more. I'd love more early shows. It feels like there was a time in New York where there was more shows. I mean, LOL used to have way more shows than they do now.
Yeah. Well, thank God for the Comedy Cellar, because they have way more shows than everyone else, and they're all great shows.
But if the Cellar wanted to do 5 p.m. shows, I'm there. You want to do a family show? I'm there. Yeah,
absolutely. We have clean stuff. We're good for families.
Yeah, but I think I don't think Cellar would ever do a clean show. I feel like that's off-brand.
It would have to be a very special, like produced, not like a regular thing, just like a
yeah.
For some reason. I did a family show at the Lantern one time. It was like a 2 p.m. on a Sunday kind of thing for like with like little children in the crowd, 6, 7-year-olds, and they're pretty rowdy, but it was fun. And I have jokes that are about enough things that they like. In the middle of one of my jokes, though, this one girl yells out, "Your peanut is showing," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "What did you say? What's showing?" And she says, "Your peanut," and I said, "What is that?" I thought I was like, "Is my fly down?" I was like really scared that somehow like my dick was out, and she's like, "It's the skin on your ear over here." And apparently this is called like the flap here is called a peanut, and for some reason she felt like saying that. It wasn't like she was trying to say it like because it sounds like penis. She was just being completely innocent and pointing out something about my ears. But I really thought I had like a situation.
That's very funny. I think it'd be funny if you went really hard on her. It's like, oh, why don't you shut the fuck up, you dumb bitch?
You dumb bitch.
When I was early, first year in, I did Andrew Chavon's show at a bar, and there was like a woman who was like heckling hard. Like if I said like, oh, so last night I was getting dinner at CVS, she'd be like, and then what happened? And then what happened? and when I left, I got my light. I said, all right, thank you guys, except for you. I hope you get hit by a car, you fucking cunt. And I heard the audience go, and then I walked off stage. And I remember people seemed way more upset about the cunt than the I hope you get hit by a car, which I thought was the like more vindictive statement. But
apparently not. She could be dead as long as she's a nice person. But if you don't want to kill someone and have them be a C word.
So Andrew Chavon never brought me back for that show, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, no grudges here. We gotta get Andrew on to defend himself. Like John Marco also was bombing completely, and
sure.
Who knows? Pulled out his penis.
Who knows how bad some of my spots actually went? Because your bar gets higher as you move along.
Sure.
And who knows how many shows I thought went fine that if I saw them now, I'd be like, oh, damn, I bombed.
I found my voice recorder from my very first sets ever. And, I put some new batteries in and they were still on there. And it was a little hard to listen to because I remember them being like, oh, I was doing really, really good. And then instead you kind of hear smattering. Some laughs are okay, but a lot of it's not great. But it's like you said, it's all relative. Like for someone who's new, what they consider a kill, Chris Rock would consider a horrible, horrible bomb. So when someone who's really great says, oh yeah, I bomb also, their bomb is a kill for like anyone in their first 5 years.
Sure. That's very funny. I used to have much more of a like presenter's voice. So I went to the store and I da. It was just like weirdly showy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a comic out there. I have not seen him in years, so I think it's okay to say this. Like he would come out there and talk like this, and he would say, well, I went to the store with my friend the other day, and what do you know? And like, even if he was bombing, like silence bombing, he would just continue like, and that's a wacky thing to do. So I went to the store with my wife the other day, and it was wild to it was one of the few comics I would stay to watch.
And now it was like at open mics, I'm guessing.
Yeah, at open mics, and just silence. It just kept, that's a wacky thing. Just like in the 50s, it would have been hacky.
It's like I was watching some old Steve Martin on The Tonight Show, and he would kind of do that also. Like, oh, that's too much. Or like in between jokes, like commenting himself, even though the crowd's not really into it at that point.
Listen, it would have been more fun at the beginning because nothing was hacky yet. There's these old videos of Jay Leno, and he's coming out in a piano tie. And I'm like, sure. Oh, that wasn't hacky. You made it.
He was stylish.
People were like, piano on a tie? You can't play that piano. And the next day they were like, that's the hackiest thing in the entire world now.
Once Jay Leno does it, forget about it.
Sure.
But I've watched, so him on Letterman is maybe what you're talking about, but because I saw him wearing that on Letterman, and that also on YouTube, there's like 8 hours of him as a Letterman guest. And it's so fascinating because he comes so prepared, is this nonstop jokes over and over and over again. And you can see how much he wants that kind of job. And how much he kind of resents that David Letterman has it and he doesn't. Because Letterman didn't do comedy very long and he just got TV, whereas Leno was like the road guy and he always had his list of all the shows he was doing. And over the years, and they had a great relationship. And Letterman would kind of poke at him a little bit and Leno would take it. And then over the years, as like, Leno started doing more guest hosting on The Tonight Show. And then once he got the job, he would still be a guest on Letterman once in a while. And the animosity between them. You really see how it built over the years. It's crazy.
Well, I didn't know until I saw the CNN documentary about late night that Letterman Leno had been kind of iced out from the Tonight Show. He had a bad set, and back then, like that was the end. That Letterman really helped bring Leno back into the forefront. Leno almost quit, so it's deep.
He was doing Letterman like once every 2 months. He was on it so much. It's insane how many appearances he had.
That's wild. Oh, look at that. Piano tie. That'd be a good piece of merch. I'm trying to think of some new merch, man. I need some new merch.
Yeah, so you've had this towel, Moisture Crunchy. We see it on social media sometimes. Have you sold out of these? Are you still making more?
I just ordered, about to order 1,000 more because originally I was selling them for $10 a pop. And then I went to Vegas and there was a woman there, older woman, who sold her towels for $20. She was like, sell them for 20. And I was like, oh boy, that feels like a lot to charge for this $1 towel. But I've been selling them for 20, no difference in sales. And with $20, I just did a weekend in Houston. I must have sold, I don't know, 30 towels.
That's crazy. That's great. It's amazing.
It's amazing. And so I'm like, all right, let me order 1,000, somehow make 20. But it's tied to a bit. So I have to do this like 3-minute chunk every time I want to sell the towels. It's dirty.
Moist or crunchy?
It's a lot. I would like a piece of merch that is just like a one-line joke or just my general oeuvre. But towels are so easy to travel with.
Has the TSA ever had to look through your bag and been like, why do you have 40 of the same towel?
No, but I did have a box of 500 towels get stolen once. And I'm like, I would love if I start walking around New York and every homeless guy has moist or crunchy towels like as blankets.
I bet they're all in like
confused
Ethiopia
Ukrainians
right now.
Say it one more time.
What's that?
So many confused Ukrainians right now.
Yeah.
That's how you donate to the cause. I gave them the best towels in the world. These are 1,000 thread count.
These are $20 towels I'm giving them. It is very funny when you think about merch where it's like, these towels are worthless until I activate them. And after a show, they're worth $20 just in this vacuum.
Right. It's a crazy thing, but they want to support you, I guess. Have you ever thought of saying, I hear some comics will do, it's $20 or whatever you want to pay. And then some people might give you 50.
Yeah, people want to tip, give it to me already. So you do get some extra sometimes. Oh yeah, I get a couple hundreds now and then. I like the people who give me money and go, no, I don't need a towel. They're like, I really don't want this. I want to support you, but not this way. Just here's nice. And then it's fun. You know, the bartender will say, oh, I'd love a towel. How much are they? And I'm like, you can have it for free. And it looks like I just did them a $20 favor. Really, I just gave them $1. That's how you actually tip them for drinks. Here's a towel for you. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do for now. So, Gianmarco, you've been on the road a lot, and I've seen on social media you've had a lot of trouble with airplanes lately. Like, Is this bad luck? Are you one of these people who shows up to the airport really late? No. Or are you well prepared, but the airlines are screwing you? My fault. None of this is my fault. I had two. I think my friend told me, he was like, listen, my friend said, I don't think airports are being honest about how badly they're understaffed right now. But these were both plane issues. So I was flying to Dallas, and we had to stop in San Antonio unexpectedly because there was bad weather in Dallas. Then we land in San Antonio. Then they hold us on the tarmac for 2 hours. Then they were about to go. Then they go, wait, toilet's broken. We got to go to the gate. To go to the gate takes another hour and a half. Then we get to the gate. We're waiting for the technician. Technician's not there for some God knows fucking reason. Then technician comes back. 8 hours on this tarmac. So then that was terrible. Barely made my show 5 minutes before my 8:30 p.m. show. Wow. So then Houston, I'm going back to New York, and I have an 8:20 a.m. flight. I'm there. We get on the plane. Something's wrong with the computer. We're going to deplane. I'm freaking out. I cannot believe this happening within 4 days. Then they cancel the flight. And it was my the first time I've ever missed a spot at the world famous Comedy Cellar. We better kick him off the show. Did you hear that? I mean,
no one who misses spots can be on this show.
and I tried everything. There was no flight. There was no flight to make it in time. And I was talking to my girlfriend about how much I would have paid to not miss that Cellar spot. And I said upwards of $600 I would have paid. There was no option. So I didn't have to make this decision. But I think like 700 I would have been like, no, I can't. I can't do that. But I was ready. I was ready to pay whatever.
Yeah. So do you think you'll ever get spots again, or is it all over now?
I did. Thank God. I got a spot next week. But I was scared. Everyone was cool about it. But you get scared.
Sure.
You get scared.
Yeah, I hate missing spots anywhere, but especially at a place like the Cellar, that would be terrifying.
Yeah, it was my first time. Now that the seal is broken, we'll see. We'll see.
Forget about it. He's. I'd say 50% you're going to show up now. You're like, sorry, I got something at the tiny cupboard. I'm not going to be able to make it.
Yeah. Those days are gone. Tiny cupboard is so far away. Dear God.
It's actually convenient for us because we live on the Lower East Side and it's on one train line for us. It's pretty easy to get to, but it is far.
Yeah, even it's one of those few places where the subway is faster than the cab. So even if you do want to like pay to make it back, it's just as long.
Yeah.
So
listen, you know what I should do is I should tell people who you are. Gianmarco Ceresi is a comedian who has acted in Hustlers with Jennifer Lopez and Here Today with Billy Crystal. His stand-up special Shelf Life was nominated for 3 New York Emmy Awards, and he's a regular at the world-famous Comedy Cellar. You can see him this weekend, May 13th to 14th at Helium in St. Louis. Please welcome Gianmarco Ceresi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gianmarco Ceresi. Anonymous, it's Delta Airlines is what I flew. Delta for both fucking flights. People told me that was the good airlines. I got the credit card. I'm a member of their Sky Lounge or whatever. And Delta has fucked me so hard. And there's no recourse. I heard there's some way if you complain in the right place, they have to give you money back. I've yet to take the time to figure that out. And I think someone stole my headphones on this last flight, by the way. So I lost my headphones.
No,
it was a bloodbath.
Go United. That's better. I got to tell you. But I had a worse Delta experience than you. I had a terrorist incident on a plane where the guy sitting next to me and my wife started screaming that he had a bomb and started shaking violently and flailing his arms, and they had to restrain him with ties. And we really thought he meant he had a bomb because before the flight took off, someone said someone left their carry-on bag like by the gate or whatever. And this lady said, "Wasn't that yours, sir?" And he said, "No, I didn't have a bag." And then all of a sudden in mid-flight, he's saying he has a bomb and he's freaking out. And we have to climb over seats to get away from the guy. And meanwhile, the plane just lands at LaGuardia. They let us off. Some police come on and carry the guy away. And then afterwards, even though like our stuff was destroyed because it was under our seats next to him, and he like stepped on it and crunched it up. The airline like wouldn't even give us a credit for anything, and they refused that this thing even happened because they never heard about it from the pilots until some other passenger had called CBS News, and it ended up on a news story. And then all of a sudden, Delta was like, "Oh yeah, it did happen." And we ended up getting like $150 of credit for that whole thing.
That is batshit insane. What year did this happen?
2016, I think. 2015.
How much did you freak out? That must have been the scariest experience of your life.
It was, especially because we were so close to it. He was literally the guy in our 3-seat section. So it wasn't like it was happening somewhere else in the plane. Oh, there's a crazy guy there. We heard everything that was going on. And we thought he had a bomb.
Did you say anything to him? Like, do you really have a bomb, sir?
Well, so my wife doesn't like this part of it, but she was sitting in the middle seat and I was in the window and this guy was in the aisle. And she noticed that he started getting a little weird and he started like breaking up the magazine and was like chewing on it kind of. And she was like, the guy's doing something weird. But I was watching The Hobbit and I hadn't seen it before. And I was like, yeah, don't worry. It's okay. It's fine. There's always crazy people. He's not doing anything. And then when it got really crazy, of course, then we jumped over. And
magazine. What are you talking about? That's normal. People chew magazines.
I don't know. He was from another country. Maybe that's a custom. And so then they didn't even have 2 seats together. So she had to sit somewhere in the back and I was sitting somewhere in the front. And I'm still watching The Hobbit now. I picked it up again. And once in a while I would kind of look back to where she was and she didn't look happy about the whole situation. But I was still, it's a good, it didn't get great reviews, but I was really into it.
I cannot believe you resumed watching The Hobbit after a bomb threat on a... That is fucking terrifying, man. I would have been thinking the whole flight, like, the bomb's about to go off. The bomb's about to go off. I need
And
to.
here's the thing. You would think that because this guy, even if you don't think it's credible, the plane would land far away from the terminal and they could have people come on and like check for bombs. They just pulled right up to the gate like nothing happened.
That is so. I was on a train once. I was at 110th Street. There was smoke on the tracks. I think there's a fire somewhere else. But all of a sudden, we heard someone shout, "There's a bomb!" And I saw someone put down a big box. And I could feel like, I swear, everyone's sense changed. Like, I felt an energy shift where we just stampeded out of that thing. And I thought for a second, oh, this is how I die. And people were going through, I think they should be outlawed. You know, the turnstile, the vertical turnstile where where people were going through it 3 at a time. And like a crowd of people were ramming through it because you thought there was a bomb. Yeah. And I was like, someone's going to get stuck and get their arm fucking like ripped off. And, you know, we're doomed.
So how many women did you stampede in that situation?
Oh, so I was throwing babies out of the way. That's like that famous Seinfeld episode, one of the best of all time. Where
George, with Eric the clown.
George just pushes them all the way. I cannot believe that bomb story. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to Google it. That's gotta. And it was on the way to New York. Yeah,
it was from Atlanta to New York. And it was insane. And they literally were just denying that this ever happened.
I used to have fears about a terrorist being on a plane that was hijacked. I am now more scared of a technical malfunction. Seeing that video of, did you see the video of the plane in China?
No.
Oh my God. Well, you know, a plane went down a couple weeks ago, like a month ago, and it was a Boeing. And the plane is going vertical. It is going vertical into the ground as fast as it can. And there's that German pilot who just sunk the plane into the ocean. And they hear on the black box people pounding, saying, please, please, please. And then the one that went missing, which someone told me the theory is, remember what's the one where they couldn't even find it? They said that the pilot had recently gotten divorced, and the last flight simulator, they took it up in the flight simulation. He took it up as high up into the sky that everyone would die of oxygen deprivation. And I'm like, that's scary now.
Yeah, that's it. I'm taking the train from now on. You turned me off of. Well, then again, train, the bomb thing that you had. So I'm gonna take the bus. I'm a bus guy.
Sure. Listen, I'm taking a train to Boston Thursday, and I could not be more delighted.
I gotta say, I love that train to Boston because those seats are so big. You feel like you're in first class on a plane.
Yep, I'm very much looking forward to it.
That is good. Oh, so listen, Dave always does slides where he shows some photos and then we comment on the slides. I put some things together. We should do that because I saw someone in the comments wanted to see some slides.
Let's do some slides.
Yeah, let's do some slides. So Mike, let's, yeah, okay.
Here we go.
All right. So this is Lake Mead in somewhere in the Western U.S. The water levels have fallen because it's a reservoir and something. I don't know. I didn't read the details. But anyway, they're finding barrels with human remains in them. Oh, you can see here. This is some guy's, butt, I think, and that's like a leg. And here you can see his ring from the mafia that he wears. But isn't this crazy? I mean, you always think you're going to find like treasure maybe, but it's just barrels full of dead people.
Yeah, I think there's something about like, when you think about all the murderers we catch, sometimes I'm like, how many don't we catch? Like they're going to be like, oh, we didn't even know this person was missing.
Yeah, I wonder who this is. Maybe it's who's been missing lately. Did they find that girl who the boyfriend killed?
Yeah.
He did? Okay.
Oh man.
See, once it's not in the news anymore, we don't care. It's not a big thing. But anyway.
Someone was a Kevin Brennan. He had some kind of joke where they kept talking about like, did they find his fiance? Because her fiance was missing, and he was like, fiance, guys, the wedding is off. Oh, fucking funny.
That's funny.
The wedding is off. God, so funny.
Okay, then there's this story that was in the news where
heard about it.
Yeah, so she was a corrections officer at this prison, and she helped this guy escape. And then she shot herself in the head yesterday after being on the run for 11 days. And apparently, when she helped him escape, it was one day before her planned retirement.
Oh
It's
my.
like a movie when they're like, that cop had one day before retirement.
Do you think they had sex?
I hope so. I mean, what else is the point of this? Just because they're good friends? Although she's much older than him. He was like in his 30s. She was in her 50s. And by the way, doesn't she look like Nick Swardson?
Yes, I saw your tweet, and
thank you. Didn't like it.
Did I not? I'll like it. But what if she helped him escape? They finally meet up, and she's like, "Let's consummate this thing." And he's like, "Oh, I see us more as friends," and that's why she shot herself in the head.
Yeah, that is plausible. Definitely. He was like, I was really just kind of using you to get out of, prison.
Yeah, that's a dynamic you got to question. Does he love me, or does he just want me to free him from his prison sentence before my retirement?
But who can resist this guy? He looks like a cross between John Hamm and Adam Driver's ears.
That is true. He's cute. I wonder what he did, why he's in jail.
Probably murder.
He's still on the run, though.
No, they got him.
Oh, they got him. Oh, that's
yeah, because it was like a car crash, and then he was like, "She's dead, but she shot herself. I swear." That's what he said. Oh, James Cromwell. We all know him from Everything We Love, Babe, and
6 Feet Under,
Homeland, 6 Feet Under. He's in everything. Apparently, he's like a really big animal rights activist, and he doesn't like that they charge more at Starbucks for non-dairy milk. Right? It's like, you want to get oat milk, that's extra. Soy milk is extra. So he super glued himself to the counter at Starbucks. I don't know if it was super glue. He glued himself to the counter at Starbucks to protest that they're being unfair to the non-dairy milks.
I would super glue myself to the Starbucks. This is talking as someone who had to eat 3 meals at airports recently. I would super glue myself just for Starbucks to mix up their fucking lunch menu. I am so sick of everything on the Starbucks menu. I'm sick of the egg white sandwich. I'm sick of the protein pack. The lollipop cakes. Grow the fuck up. Grow the fuck up. If you get a lollipop cake, you shouldn't be drinking coffee because you're a child. So I support anything that fucks with Starbucks. I think this is a strange stand to take amidst abortion rights being stripped from women. I think like there's got to be a sense of timing with some of these protests. Is this the biggest deal we need to deal with right now? I don't think so. And it feels insensitive to do this right now.
Well, I'll say this. First of all, he could have 2 different issues. Maybe he's big on abortion stuff, but today was glue yourself to the counter day, and it was already planned. That's number 1. Number 2, I thought his shirt had frappuccinos on it, but I think it's animal paws. Or it's like, it's 1 human fist and 1 doggy fist. So it's like solidarity.
I feel like PETA, I guess PETA, I know PETA fucks up a lot of stuff, but I do think sometimes PETA gets made fun of, but they're right. Like, I think PETA is correct. I think being vegan is the only morally defensible thing to do in this world. I do not think it's morally defensible to eat meat. I do love it though. And so I support what PETA says they're trying to do.
I think it's probably only morally defensible to just make your own food and eat your own food, because otherwise, even if it's some vegan diet, there's probably some really poor people who are in poverty that are picking your berries for you.
For sure. But there's poor people killing your cows for you too. So
I do that myself. I'm a farm to table kind of guy.
I would love to see you try to kill a cow.
Imagine me trying to stab something into their thick skin. It would just bounce right off, like as if they were Superman. And then the farmer would be like, "This is really not that hard. What's wrong with you?" All right, let's move on. Oh, corgis! The chat really wanted animals, so here are corgis. Are you guys happy in the chat now?
Are they stuffed? Like these are
not real. They're puppets. So this lady is a puppet master, and she has designed all of these corgis. Each one is unique. They look like every different corgi that Queen Elizabeth II has ever owned. And honestly, it's like for her jubilee or whatever. But really, I think she's got the point mentally where you could tell her these look like her old corgis. She does not remember that she had corgis besides the current one she's staring at right now.
How old is she now? Does she have long COVID? Did I read that today?
No, she has long boobies.
Great.
I don't know. She's 97, 96.
Oh my God,
Something
that's
like that.
wild. I would definitely. I'm gonna push to make it to 100, and then let go right there.
How long will you do comedy for?
I want to die on stage. I'd like to die on stage. Hopefully not like trying new material and it bombs, and then you die. I quickly would go into some old hits.
You can't, though. That's how you're going to die, because your old hits are you doing big act outs, and you're going to be 100 years old trying to jump around the stage, and you're going to break every bone in your body.
Moist or crunchy.
And everyone's going to be like, wow, he's a really good actor. It looks like he's dying.
There was something on stage where someone died on stage maybe a year or so ago where they thought it was part of the show. I saw someone have a mental episode on stage where they forgot who they were. And it was very awkward because you didn't know if it was a bit for a second. It was very uncomfortable. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, I've seen a comic also have I guess you can call it an episode, and I was laughing because I was like, this is great. And then I realized he needed help.
Oh my God. What was the first letter?
D?
Okay, you'll tell me later.
I'll tell you later. Next slide. Okay, this is, I gotta look this up because I don't remember what it's called. It's like some snake festival in Italy. It's for you because you're half Italian, so this is for you.
Great.
This is called, okay, so these are snake catchers who put snakes on the statue of Saint Domenico in Coculo, Italy, for the Festival of Snake Catchers. And what I think is nice about this, personally, is that they're wearing masks so that they can be safe.
Yes, that's good. It's very interesting. The places we still have to wear masks. I went to see my doctor the other day. I still have to wear a mask there. And are you wearing the mask? Are you done?
I got COVID finally 4 weeks ago. So now that I'm like recently recovered, I feel like I have enough antibodies that I could kind of live free for a few more months, maybe, or weeks.
Yeah.
Before I get like worried again about being reinfected. But otherwise, I was pretty careful.
I don't like snakes. I don't like this. I don't want to touch a snake. And I'm sure there's like some people drop a snake and it bites you. And this festival needs to go away.
Fair enough. All right. Well, look, you're with the chat also. The chat are not into the snakes. They want fuzzy animals. I'm sorry, guys. I have no other... Maybe Mike can find a rabbit for you guys to look at really quickly. Oh, there we go. That's cute.
What is that? Is that a raccoon?
It's a raccoon with no hair.
Wow.
That's great.
I usually just use that to scare Dave, but
I feel like that's cuter.
We're getting closer. Better than snake, better than stuffed corgis, better than dead body in Lake Mead. Not as good as dead corrections officer.
If you could have one unusual pet that like you can't just get casually right now. Like for me, I want a little monkey, but I hear stories like, trust me, you don't want a monkey. But like what's an unusual animal that if they were trained, you would like, that would be cool.
I think one of those like wild cats that's not like a tiger, one of those like really little ones that's still wild, like what are they, ocelots or something? I don't know what their names are, but like where it's basically like a house cat, but still like a wild cat, but not gigantic where it can maul me. And yeah, if it was like trained enough, that'd be pretty cool. Mike, what do you think? What's your pet?
I'd want a capybara.
Yeah.
Do people have pet capybaras?
I think they're starting to now.
I mean, I guess that's how dogs came to be. They were evolved gradually to be man's best friend. So you could like evolve these things like Pokemon. I think it's funny. The more you think about Pokemon, you're like, oh, it's just animal abuse. Like Michael Vick, like that's what Pokemon is.
At least Michael Vick didn't put them in balls. He let his dogs live.
Yeah.
More or less.
I wish Pokemon. There's always it's so funny where all the battles they faint. Oh no, Pikachu fainted. How about Pikachu was ripped in half and Charizard burned it until it was nothing but dust. Pika Pika.
You want a more violent, realistic Pokemon where the thing actually dies after these battles.
You know the way that our generation works, what we did with Batman and all this Marvel superheroes, that we will have a gritty Pokemon reboot someday where the Pokemon die.
Yeah.
Well, it should be like Pokemon with Mortal Kombat, where all 180 Pokemon or whatever have like some kind of fight to the death, one-on-one, and you move on in the tournament, and then there's like one Pokemon who's left.
What was
Officer Jenny, do your job.
What was your favorite Pokemon? What was your like go-to?
I didn't play Pokemon, so I don't know. But my brother had a Charizard card, and that was apparently valuable. So I'll say Charizard.
Sure, Charizard. Yeah, that's pretty cliche fucking answer.
Hey, the fans don't lie. The reason they pay a lot for that is because it's the best.
I like Squirtle.
Catalina also said Charizard, by the way.
Sure. I would do Metapod. That's the half stage between Caterpie and Butterfree.
I thought it was before menopause.
Caterpie
Caterpie and Butterfree?
Caterpie or Caterpie evolves.
Caterpie?
You get it right.
Metapod's only skill is Harden, so it can't actually do anything.
It's actually, there's a meme going around, a lot of Pokemon related Simpsons memes right now that are based on how useless Harden is. Yeah.
Metapod. Love it. Love Metapod.
Cool. That's a weird choice. You know your stuff.
Yeah. I just doing it to be cool. Metapod.
There's not enough Pokemon related podcasts, I don't think. I think you should probably start one.
Sure. I was always a boring player. Like, I think this reflects how I am in life with RPGs. I think it's technically an RPG or something, where I would just like train them like on the lowest level. Like I would spend like hours, like work, like labor of just making them super strong, fighting Rattatas. And then I'd be a super high level, and then I just beat the game easily. So there was like no skill. There was no strategy. It was just like, I will torture myself until my Pokemon are level 100, and then I'll just beat everyone in seconds.
Yeah, same thing. I would do that with an RPG. Get it so it's really easy. That's a nice sleeping bag.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
So this is your new merch, John Marco. It's going to have your face on the side of it. It'll come in two styles, moist or crunchy.
I already know what the show. It's going to be called Meta Podcast.
There it is. And no one will know that it's about Pokemon. They'll think it's about meta stuff. Half the listeners have to explain every single episode. Yeah, so once again, we're not just talking about the Facebook parent company, and we're not talking about things that are meta. It's about Pokemon.
It is frustrating that Facebook got Meta. Like, that's like a company that got BI. And you're like, that's a prefix. You can't copyright that.
I feel bad for Meta World Peace, the basketball player, because that was like his thing, was that word.
Meta World is his first name?
Well, his name was Ron Artest, and he changed his name legally to Meta World Peace. It makes no sense, but he's insane, and there's a documentary about him that's really great, which I know you haven't seen. You're not a sports guy, but maybe Mike has seen it.
I watched some sports stuff. I'm almost done with the Tony Hawk documentary.
What's that on? I heard good things about it. I want to watch it.
HBO.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, like, is it amazing? No. There's just a certain degree of like he just had this, he had the big success, making all the money, and then it cuts to him like being like, I didn't like who I was at that time. I cheated. I was unfaithful. And there's just something about it where like to see someone just show full remorse and not have any like, well, this was fun. Or, well, this one time I hooked up with so-and-so, and that was pretty cool. Like, there's just a degree of like, well, the cameras are on, so you're going to show like pure remorse for who you were. And I don't buy it fully. I don't want to, I don't believe, oh, you were really difficult, and then you processed it fully, and now you're great. Now you're a fully evolved human. I don't buy it. And I need a documentary. I think it's tough while the people are still alive. But like Andre the Giant's documentary, you went away going like, that was a fucked up dude. That dude was kind of like, I always remember from that, he was too big to poop on airplane bathrooms. This is
I can't poop.
So they would set up a bucket in the middle of the fucking plane and pull the curtains, and he would take a shit right there.
Or you could just not shit on planes. Like, I've never shat on a plane. I've flown many times.
Well, he was flying to Japan, so it was a pretty long flight.
Yeah, that's a long
Hey,
flight.
come on, man.
And the whole time he kept saying, "I have a bomb, I have a bomb," and that's what he was talking about.
And he threw me just like he was the dragon in The Hobbit. He just tossed me like I was nothing. Wow, what a time.
Catalina brought this up.
So that's the president of Chile?
Yes.
And this is the gift he gets, huh? That's really, that's a Squirtle, right? I know my stuff a little bit. Yeah, instead of like something good that's like valuable, they gave him something they got at the airport. The president of Japan was like, "Oh shit, I have to get something," and he just went to like the Japan store in the Tokyo airport.
Is that a Japanese accent you put on?
No, it was a pretty generic non-American accent. I think you'll find that it was non-offensive. It was just guy who's not American. You cannot tell me that was Japanese.
I don't know what it was though. It was
non-American.
a generic non-American. That could be so many different things.
Yeah. Which he is. He's something else. So that's why it worked for him. It could have also been the president of Chile talking. It's the same accent for both.
Why wasn't it Italian? If it's just non-American, it could have been Italian.
Do your Italian accent. I like your Italian accent.
For the presidente.
That's your Mario joke.
It's a me, Mario. That I get canceled. Italian accents are still okay.
Yeah, certain things you can make fun of still, and I think that fun Italian accent is okay.
Because obviously there are some people with mild Italian accents, but I remember being in Sicily, and I always remember the woman at the hostel running the hostel was like, "And then I go to put on the bookshelf," and I was like, "God damn, that's offensive," but that was her real accent.
What can you do? Sometimes stereotypes are real, and you have to just let those people live their lives. Catalina says the Italian hand. Is that the...
No, when you're talking, yeah.
There's all sorts of... I learned them for some reason at some point. There's a YouTube video with all the different things.
What's this one?
This is thinner than I had hoped for.
Yeah, it's don't even need to use the whole hand. Just going to use 2 fingers. Well, Gianmarco, where are you going to be this week? Plug some dates.
I'm Boston Thursday night for something called The Jar, and then I'm headlining St. Helium in St. Louis Friday and Saturday, hoping to sell it out so I can add an extra show, make a little more money. But Helium, St. Louis. And then, man, I got dates coming up. I got Connecticut, San Diego, San Francisco, Seattle, Sacramento, Tampa. So check out my my social media at Gianmarco Ceresi, and there's links there to all my upcoming shows or the text list. And listen to my podcast, The Downside.
There's no downside to that. And oh, look, Mike has been doing a lot of research for you.
My God. Please send that. Put that in the have it.
Yeah, and just get a TaskRabbit, and they'll be able to send a Mexican guy over there to fix it for you.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Unbelievable. So, Mike, where are you going to be?
This weekend, I'll be at Laugh Out Loud in San Antonio at Big J Okerson, and next week, I'll be at Side Splitters in Tampa with Dan Soder.
Very cool. And I will be at Gotham on this Thursday, and then I'll be up in Buffalo at Rob's Comedy Playhouse Friday and Saturday, so you guys should come out to that. And look, everyone in the chat and everyone else watching and listening, thanks for joining us at the Comedy Cellar nightly show. Don't forget to go see a show at the Comedy Cellar when you're in New York City. It's the greatest comedy club in the world. There are, I think, 70 shows a week or something like that. So there's something for everyone at this place. So come on out, see Gianmarco, maybe see me, and we'll see you next time. Come back next Tuesday, 6 o'clock. Bye, guys.